Hey guys, Matt here with another video for Phantom Llama's Den. We're going to call this one probably Phantom Llama's Garage since we're, out in my garage. Got a little project that I've been wanting to start for a while. Darren gave me this Xbox 360. Doesn't work anymore. We've tried everything we can to get it working. Nothing. So we're going to gut it. We're going to tear it apart. We're going to put a modern gaming PC in it. Really looking forward to this project. Kind of scared because while this is a dead unit, you only get one shot and you can't really go out and get too many broken ones without still spending a good amount of money. So real kind of nervous on this one, but I'm also really excited to start this. Okay, we have the Xbox broken down. Full transparency, I've never worked on a console before. So, of course, the natural first step is, instead of getting my hands dirty with little simple projects, I just go full bore and decide I'm gonna gut one and put a computer in it. Makes total sense, especially if you know me. Anyway, this is really everything that's in your Xbox. I mean, it might look overly simplified, but that's how electronics really are. This is actually just what the Xbox is. This is a computer. And let's be honest, it is a computer. It is a computer. It just doesn't work anymore. I'm going to be recycling this. There's nothing for me to retain off of it. So I'm hoping that I can get something for it from the scrapper along with all my other dead hardware that I need to be taking soon. The keen-eyed among you will notice in the intro the Xbox had the external hard drive on top of it. And we've decided to, in order to streamline the look, to make it look as sleek as we can, we're just going to go back to the original flat surface without the add-on. We don't need that extra space, so we're just going to streamline it and it's going to look a lot better, I think. Next, we have the top and bottom or side, depending on how you had your Xbox oriented. This is just the outer shell. We had a little bit of a mishap here. I was not too happy with it. I'd like to blame it on the plastic getting brittle over time, but I was probably rip or bust with it. We'll edit that. I don't think that broken clip is going to cause any major issues. I think it'll all sit back flush once we have everything back together. But we are going to have to modify this outer shell a little bit to accept the I/O shield, to have like all the input devices for this computer, but it shouldn't be too problematic. Next, we'll move on to what we're going to be definitely just completely getting rid of. This is the DVD drive. We are going to retain the chrome/silver cover off of the top of it, just so we can mount it to the external shell and maintain that stock sleeper look. I'm a big fan of a sleeper computer or a sleeper car, and to maintain that look, we definitely need to retain that chrome part. Obviously, this is another mishap, I guess. We're keeping the front shell shield. We're gonna work on getting the button to actually power the PC. The springs, unfortunately, all popped out of this, and I could not, maybe I was just impatient. I could not figure out how to get them back in. So those doors I'll probably have to just hot glue closed. And that disappoints me because I really wanted to have some USB ports through here for front side input on the Xbox computer, but such is life. Last but not least, we have the power button circuit board. This I would rather not retain, but it's going to be the easiest way to make the power button actually work as the power button for the computer. To do that, it's going to require a little bit of soldering. Preliminary research I found online is two of these leads, one's a positive, one's a negative. Electricians, you can correct me on DC. That's fine. I deserve it. Two of these power leads here control the power button. The power button is right in here. And when depressed, obviously it'll turn on the power. There's a little nubbin here that will come into contact with the little button in there. Unfortunately, don't know how to get the LEDs to work. And frankly, if I botch that soldering job too much, I'm just going to drill a hole straight into this circuit board. It'll just be a dummy board at that point. And I'll mount just another little power button in there. It'll accomplish the same effect. And if I do that, I might just mount some LED lights in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. I am sure that we're going to run into a few more mishaps along the way. Time for a mandatory haul video. Everything that's going to go inside the Xbox 360 here. Please forgive the noise in the background. My neighbor's running their leaf blower. Nothing I can do about that. Hopefully we can mitigate the noise pollution there. But we'll go left to right here. Starting with the motherboard. We got an ASRock B450 Mini ITX. I believe that this is one of their fatality boards. This is really the only size motherboard that you can reasonably make work in any kind of console. It's such a small form factor and it's got all the necessary components on it. I was going for a budget build for this. Budget, right. In 2021, what's that look like? Anyway, it's going to support the processor. We got a 5600G. This was kind of ordered before knowing if I was going to be able to get a graphics card. Luckily, I was able to get to that and get one of those, but we'll get to that. But the 5600G, honestly, it has enough power for what we're going to be doing with it. We're not going to be playing any super AAA titles like Battlefield 5 or Call of Duty. Sorry, everybody that loves Call of Duty. I'm a Battlefield fanboy. But no, the 5600G, it really isn't that much difference from the 5600X as far as real world gains for what we're going to be doing in this computer, especially with the restrictions on airflow. So just going with a 5600G. For the cooling solution, we're just going with a Noctua very low profile fan. It's going to be perfect for that 65 watt TDP. For storage, we're going with an M.2 drive. We went with just a crucial 1 terabyte stick of NVMe storage. Next, we got the graphics card. I actually got a hold of a decent graphics card at MSRP. Ran to Best Buy one day and they just had one. They had one left. I was like, I'll take it. In an ideal world, I would have gotten a Zotac, but I am not going to beg for things that are impossible to get. Obviously, we got a PCIe riser. It's pretty low profile, pretty short, because it's not going to fit into the PCI Express slot and stand straight up. So it's going to be a really compact build. I know I keep saying that, but it's the only way we're going to make that work was with a riser cable. The next thing, this is kind of the most interesting component and honestly the thing that I'm most worried about. This is the power supply, guys. This is an HDPlex 400 watt just power supply. Doesn't include the converter. The converter is part of the power brick. What works with this is from what I've seen, it's pretty finicky. The most success anybody's had with power bricks for this is a 330 watt, so you're still not even going to be able to utilize that full power potential here. But it's a Dell 330 watt power brick. Gosh, I'd love to have seen the laptop that went with, but I'm too lazy to go look that up. But this just is all the cables that we'll need. It is obviously modular, so thankfully we've got that. This is where the power brick will plug into, so we're going to have to come up with a way to mount this to the chassis. Really looking forward to this. I'm sure you'll notice there's one thing missing. We don't have memory. At the time of filming this, we're still waiting on our memory. Got held up by Amazon, got lost. They say that it should be here a little later today, so I hope that's the case. But I'm going to start putting this one together, and we're going to test to make sure everything turns on. Might grab a couple of sticks of spare memory I've got laying around, or pull some out of another system, just to make sure that the system boots. I did have it booted at one point, but I just want to make sure all the components that are actually going to go in this work before I commit to anything because again, 2021, the prices obscene and availability just as bad. So we'll be back, going to start assembling this and we'll see where we are. CPU and heatsink and fan are now all installed. I gotta tell you, I love Noctua products. I love their fans, I love their heat sinks. I use them in almost every one of my builds that doesn't use like an AIO or a water cooling solution. But I gotta tell you, this one was quite possibly the most unique install that I've had. Instead of mounting the heatsink and fan to the motherboard, you actually have to flip the thing over and install the motherboard to the heatsink and fan. Basically, the screw mounts go on through the back plate on the back side. Let's see if I can show you here. Yeah, so basically had to set the heatsink and fan down. Ooh, I am shaking. And then you have to line up the motherboard and install it that way. So, you know, a little different from anything I've ever done. Granted, I've never done a small form factor computer before. I've always been about that big case with all the lights and the big windows, but I'm trying to move into a new realm here. I've got server mount stuff I've built now. I've built really small servers. I've built my massive gaming computer. I've built a home theater PC. Now I'm going to build an Xbox computer. So we're going smaller now. Anyway, the next step, still waiting on the memory to be delivered today. Hopefully that gets delivered today. Hopefully that doesn't get pushed back another day. But I think while we're waiting, I will go ahead and put the M.2 drive here on this board. They've been able to have an M.2 slot because they've put it on the underbelly of the motherboard. And I'm a little concerned just because, and just with everything with this computer that I'm building with this mod, it's just going to take up space. Hopefully with that little stick on the back, it doesn't make me have to have the motherboard too far off of the base of that metal frame that we've modded. Otherwise, we're going to run into some serious space issues. We're already going to run into space issues because of the graphics card. Please excuse the mess. This is what happens to my workbench when I start working. I should probably clear some of this out. Anyway, we'll be back once the memory is here so we can install it and do a post test on this system. We are back. Look what came. Finally, it took a little longer than I was hoping, but the memory finally did arrive. We got ourselves a kit of Corsair Vengeance DDR4 3600 megahertz. Not quite recalling what the cast latency is on that, but not too worried about that for what this computer is going to be used. And I've got it all set up, and we are now here with the magic moment. Got my monitor turned on so we don't have any false panics here about it not actually posting when it really did. One thing I realized that after I got the processor mounted underneath the heatsink and everything, I don't know what BIOS this thing has. I got this board used on Amazon, saved about 40 bucks on the MSRP, and I don't know if it came from the factory flashed to accept Ryzen 5000 chips or if the previous owner, the board was definitely already used. Nothing bad, there was nothing wrong with it, but it definitely showed signs that it had been, the stock heatsink mounts had been taken off and then put back on. They were pretty loose. So I'm kind of hoping that the BIOS had already been flashed. But we're here for the magic moment. Make sure everything here is connected. I've got the power button, the temporary power button connected. Got everything run to the little power supply. I've got my I/O stuff connected. What? Oh, that would cause a panic. So let's go ahead and plug in the power brick. This is how I get electrocuted and die. Oh, this is painless. All right. Oh, and power is definitely getting to the power supply. I haven't even tested this power supply. I've made sure that the light comes on, but I don't know if anything here works. I haven't tested the graphics card. I haven't tested the motherboard. I haven't tested You guys are about to see quite possibly a disaster. We might have an epic please stand by or some groans. We'll see. And fan spin. Graphics card. Oh, it's cycling. Ryzen does that. We have a GPU. Fan spin. Come on. Oh, we got it. It's recognizing the card. We're posting. We have posted. This accepted a 5000 series chip right off the bat. Okay, what do we got here? 5000 or 5600G. Sorry, I'm being distracted by my Rainbow Puke keyboard here. 16 gigabytes memory. It's registering at 36. That's different. I wonder if the person before it had the same config. Oh, you guys are going to think I'm faking this, that I booted this before. Oh, this is the most painless first time boot I've ever had, I think. At least with Ryzen. I love AMD, but I've had amazing luck with my Intel stuff. I mean, it just, but I have turned into a bit of an AMD fanboy. Though I won't hate on Intel, except for their business practices. Getting off on a tangent, I digress. I apologize. This is fantastic. I think we're going to cut here. This is a good stopping point for the first video. We haven't really done too much on the fab work yet. This is just showing the breakdown, what we did to get everything ready to start modification. Now you're seeing all the components that are going into it. Well, that's going to do it for this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this first part of our two-part series on making this Xbox gaming computer. If you did like it, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see future videos, including the second part of this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for future content. We really appreciate all the support we're getting so far on our new channel, and we can't wait to keep bringing you new content. Until our next video, we hope you have a great one.